Welcome back everyone to another live stream, our second live stream. And yeah, thank you for 800 subscribers. Welcome everyone who joined. Today's plan, like a little map for today, is we're gonna look at this beautiful box here from GameGenic and look at some vintage set cubes. I have here, we already had it about the dark. I have here the dark in here, the dark set cube, but the focus should be the Arabian Nights set cube, which I started building and wanted to show how far I am already. Then I would like to talk about the distribution. Also, if you have any questions about set cubes in general, always just put them into the chat and I hope I can answer those. If you cannot hear me or if the music is too loud or too quiet, just let me know. And the last part probably of this video today will be us building and kind of drafting a Arabian Nights deck with the Arabian Nights cards that I already own. So maybe you feel inspired after this video to build your own set cube. That would be so cool in my opinion. It doesn't have to be a vintage set cube. It could be. The dark is the cheapest to build actually. But it could be just your favorite set, so that you're inspired in building your own set cube, your favorite set. And yeah, let's get started. So this is everything that I have of Arabian Nights currently, these two boxes. You see that the dark set cube is a little bigger already, like 5 of these little black boxes here. You have here all the commons, and here are all the rares and uncommons. And this is all I have from the Arabian Nights set cube. So there is still quite a way to go for me to get to that point so that I can play it with actually like 10 people. But I've started, and it's actually the journey that is the beautiful part in my opinion, not the having it finished, because I have the dark set finished and now I only think of it when I want to play with it and sometimes when I talk with you about it. But the journey of accumulating those cards is the beautiful part of like trading with people, trying to trade away some cards that you don't need and getting some of these old vintage cards. And the boxes that I use, by the way, are these GameGenic boxes, which is not a sponsor, but I wanted to tell you something that I noticed, which is the gray box that actually kind of falls apart actually. So if you're getting a box for your set cubes, I'm not sure if you should get the GameGenic boxes. So what I noticed is that this middle part here gets a little, well, it's not that sturdy, and if you store it like upright like this, like so, the middle part actually at some point breaks off. So this is why I talked with Energetic on my Discord about different boxes. So Energetic uses a different box from like a Spanish seller who makes like wooden boxes, and this middle part here kind of broke off, so it's kind of loose now. There's like some glue here and you can like try to press it back, but it won't hold if you have the box like this and the cards pressing down on the middle part. So that's a little sad, but shouldn't be the focus of the video for today. But I just wanted to let you know, because I have a video where I let you know that I have the GameGenic box now and that I use it for all my set cubes. I still use them, but I think I wouldn't buy them again actually. So maybe GameGenic fixed their boxes. Maybe they didn't. And yeah, just maybe look for another box, maybe a wooden box. But also, I mean, the softness of this box is kind of nice though. Maybe don't store it upright, like on the side kind of, but rather the way that you would normally store a box. Anyways, so I played around a little with the streaming program that I used, and I noticed I can now add like windows to the stream, and this is like the table I'm currently using for my set cubes. And I would tell you that you should do the same, kind of like I would suggest that you do that too, because keeping in mind which cards you already own, which cards you still need, but also being able to see how far you are and what you paid for the cards is an integral part of looking at your finances and your budget. So you have 4 set cubes. That is amazing. Okay, you could also start mixing those as well and see how the old cards still hold up, right? You could try that. Frickland is the name of the seller that sells the wooden boxes, right? The Dex boxes, I don't know yet. I don't know if you told me about them. Maybe you want to let us know what they are. Frickland, I remember, that which is the Spanish seller that makes wooden boxes, right? So that's some alternative to the Gamegenic boxes. What I wanted to look at in regards to the set cube was how far did I get in which amount of time, and I noticed that I didn't collect many Arabian Nights cards from early on, actually. So sorting that by ascending, we can see that I accumulated some of the cards early on. Doesn't it work? Yeah, now it works. So like you have like November of 2021, like a Metamorphosis. And what I noticed is that many of these I got early, or a couple of these I got early, and then actually I really started collecting cards in like February of 2023 after the Dan hype of everyone building Dan decks, and I wanted to have like original Dan-Dans, and that was where I got the inspiration or the idea of that I would actually want to build a Arabian Nights set cube at some point, so I would need even more Dan-Dans, and I started collecting. And so actually the date that I really started collecting Dan-Dans and Arabian Nights in this case was around a year ago. So like November of 2023. So a year later, November of 2024 was a year ago. It was like 3 months ago. So a little more than a year, and I got this far. And I think this can be an inspiration for everyone who thinks that buying Arabian Nights cards or any vintage cards and having to spend so much money cannot be achieved, or building a set cube cannot be achieved, and it's just a grind. So you just start somewhere and collect a couple of cards, you see how you feel about them, and at some point you are where I am now and are able to play Arabian Nights with 4 people. I am currently at a state where I can play it with like 3, but at some point you reach that state of like 3 people and like 4 people, and at some point you have the ability to play with 8 or even 10 people, depending on how many people you want to play with, and that's how many cards you will need. The idea for my set cube was at the beginning to have like a distribution similar to how the booster packs were created back then. So this is what I wrote on the side, was like how many commons are in the set as well as uncommons, and I have a whole video breaking down what these numbers actually mean, like what are C11, C5, C4s, but in the essence they are how often these cards were printed on the common sheet, so 11 times or 5 times or 4 times, and how often these were printed on the uncommon sheets, so 3 times, 2 times, and 4 times. So there were actually no rares in Arabian Nights, and I think in the dark neither, right? Were there any rares? No, just U2s and U1s. So rares came later on. Antiquities also doesn't have rares, but Legends was the first one that actually has rares of the expansion sets. So the original Unlimited, so Alpha and Beta had rares, but Legends came later with the rare sheet. Now, my idea was that I would like to play with around 10 people, the set cube. And I calculated how many of each card I would need. And this is what the calculation here on the side means. I don't want to go too much into details, but if you have any questions, just let me know in chat. The essence that I took from this was that I need like 360 commons and 120 roundabout of the uncommons to be able to play with 10 players who each has 6 boosters, and in each of these booster packs were 2 of the rares or uncommons, in this case of Arabian Nights. So let's put the sorting back to its original state here. And what we can also see is how much I actually put into the set cube already. And Arabian Nights is quite an expensive set. I will need a couple of like 1,000 or 2,000 euro or dollar cards multiple times in there, which is like Bazaar of Baghdad I need 3 of, by the way. And Library I also need 3 of. So these will probably be the last cards I would add to the set cube to be able to play it, because these cards will also not be the most essential cards to be able to experience Arabian Nights. And what else did I put in here? I also put in like a little calculation to see how much did I pay, how much is it actually worth, depending on condition of the card, to be able to see, well, if this set is worth less today or more. So back on September 2024, this card was like 25 bucks. I don't know what it is worth today. But I struck a really nice deal on this one. For example, the Dark Set Cube actually fell in price. I had a loss of like 400 bucks on this one, but I also didn't put in sell prices, so the loss should be a little less. But the dark got hit quite a lot with downward pressure because the dark was just printed so much more. Yeah, there were no rares. There was not a rare sheet in the older days. So the first 3 expansion sets, so Arabian Nights, Antiquities, and the Dark, all 3 sets did not have any rares, but different rarities of uncommons. So you could say that different levels of uncommons means like rares. Like today we have also mythics, which also can be in the same slot of rares. But yeah, it's really interesting how they evolved. And then you have the Legends set, which has 1 rare in it at the end of the booster pack. And today you open like a collector booster and you get up to 4 rares or mythics. I actually don't know the exact details. So Magic evolved throughout the years and noticed that having a more consistent rare slot is better than having 2 worthless uncommons in there. And yeah, Juzam the Jinn will hurt. I don't know how many do I need, 2 or 3 of? 2. Luckily only 2. What is a Juzam the Jinn currently? Like 2k per piece? It will also be one of the last ones I'm gonna buy, I think. But it is a strong card. So black without Juzam the Jinn will be quite weak. But also mixing the Jinn with an unlimited set cube and casting it with Dark Ritual turn 2 latest will be quite powerful, like back in the days. So that's also a really nice touch to be able to recreate those old games. Okay, so 1.2k currently. I mean, I have Scryfall here. We can look together and see what Scryfall says. Juzam. What is it currently? Oh, it's just 1k. That's cheap. Let's check this printing. Yeah, it's just 1k. So yeah, it is quite an iconic card, and I'm looking forward to owning one day. But I'm also hoping to be able to trade for any of these expensive cards. Let me look up Spirit Link. What was that again? Spirit Link. That was the life gain card from Legends, right? Yeah, I remember. And mixing it with... Oh, you mean like Spirit Link and the Jinn? Building a white and black deck, gaining the life that the Jinn will lose you 5 times over. Yeah, that will be brutal. That will be quite hard to beat. I'm looking forward to mixing those sets and playing them as well. I think though that the Spirit Link is an uncommon, yeah. So let's switch to the Excel sheet again. What was it? Spirit Link, not Life Link. Spirit Link. I don't own a Spirit Link yet, but I only need 1 of. And it is an uncommon, but it is as rare as any rare. So you have 3 possible slots to open up a Spirit Link in a Legends booster. But it will be hard to pull both of them. But yeah, I mean, you will have to build a deck in any way, in either way. And maybe you open up a Spirit Link and a Jinn. That will be quite brutal. That's true. Yeah, and then some Dark Rituals, and then you're great to go. Yeah, so where's my Excel sheet? Oh, I did not show the Excel sheet. That is sad. Still learning. So this is what I showed when I said that Spirit Link is a U1. Let me know if I talk about something and not show it. I'm still learning this to work with this program. Suchi with Spirit Link. Suchi just gives you 4 mana when it dies, right? Suchi. Luckily I own all 3 Suchi that I need for my Antiquities set cube. Yeah. I mean, it's a great way to store mana, and if it dies, you get it back. You could play the set cube also with the old mana burn rules, and then you get punished for it dying. There's also a reason why mana drain was so bad back in the day. Like, you countered a spell for two blue. For those who are watching, who might not know mana drain, but from Commander you should also know it. But it's actually a really old card. And the reason why this card was, well, not the worst, but it was worse than today, is that you would gain X mana into your mana pool, and you would lose life equal to the mana that you haven't used that was in your mana pool. So mana drain was worse than counterspell in some cases if you didn't have an outlet to put the mana in, which is also like a fun fact. It will be interesting for my Arabian Nights set cube though, since I want to adhere to the cultural bannings, and I don't think I'm playing any of these, and we also had this discussion on Discord as too. So I'm not playing Stone Throwing Devils, which is a solid card. A Stone Devil, which is this one. So we can view it, but I will not play it because it's a good card for 1 mana. You get a first striker 1/1, and you have many other the Flying Man, which is awesome for 1 mana, a flyer. And black I would just leave out, so they don't have a 1-drop. They have a 3. They have a 2-drop here and here. So these are also commons, Graders and the Witch. Oh, and the Ogress. So they have a whole bunch of 2-drops. So these are all playable, and the Witches are also commons, if I recall correctly. Yeah, it's a C4. So I think black will still be fine, and they have the Djinn as well. But they will not have a 1-drop, and they will have to play a second color to have that 1-drop. Red has Kurdabe, which is amazing. If you play Forest as well, it's better, even better. And green has this weird Ogre. And the Asp. Ooh, they have 2 1-drops. That is nice. Okay. So the Asp I actually think is very playable. If it deals damage, they have to pay 1 at the beginning of their draw step, or they lose another life. So that is useful in my opinion, very useful. The Ogre is just weird. You just gift it to your opponent if they have more life than you, but it deals 2 damage. Yeah. So that will be interesting. I also thought about like how I would fix the distribution if the Stone Throwing Devils is gone. And the idea that I had was like give some more Graders and Witches and Ogresses, but I'll see. I also had the idea to put the 1/1 flying bat from Legends in, but I'll see. I'll see what I will do. Which is the Vampire Bats. Yeah, that's what it's called. Let's see on Scryfall again what they do. So I could just get like, I don't know, like 15 bats or how many stone throwing devils would be in here to replace the devils and have a 0/1 flyer that can go up to a 2/1 flyer if you put some black mana in. I'll see. I'll test it, and then I will see if black needs some more help and would put the bats in probably. Or I would just go only Arabian Nights and put some more 2-drops in, so that black has some more cards just to be able to build a better deck or generally a deck. Nice. So let's go back to our screen, I think. Made some notes. Let me check my notes if I wanted to say anything else before we continue. No, I don't think I wanted to add anything. So the next idea was like to show you how I would draft. So at first I would like to look at the cards, because just like history and like old cards, and that's I think why you're here, just to look at some old cardboard cards. MTG cardboard, and just enjoy the pieces of nostalgia and history, because normally back in the day, and this is what I also find so beautiful about building a vintage set cube, is that no one had that many cards, so they only were able to buy like a single booster pack of Arabian Nights, and that was it. And that was all that the store was allocated with, like one booster box in its entirety, and they had to like only sell 1 or 2 packs per person. So having these many Arabian Nights cards is quite unusual, and obviously I traded for all of them. I didn't open them in any of the packs. These are pretty much unpayable, way too expensive. But yeah, collecting them and building a set cube gives you a peek into history that no one ever had and probably no one ever experienced. So that's really nice. Okay, it's good to know that you think that way, Energetic. I might still have to get some more commons from other colors or black, because in total I will have, I'll show it again, I'll have like exactly 360 commons with all the commons that exist. I will not put in Jihad, which means it's a U2. I will also have to put in some more rares. I'll see about that, how I'll do that. No Devils. Any other banned card? No more banned card. Interesting. Okay, just 2 banned cards. So I'll see what I have to do, what I'll do there. Probably I'll just put in another white card or 2 to replace the Jihad. And with the Devils, I will probably add some more other black cards that are commons, just to be able to play with 10 players and have enough cards in there. So let's switch to our playmat. By the way, did you notice I have a beautiful Dan Arabian Nights playmat here? I really like that. That's the fish that is on the artwork. Just oversaturated so the colors pop a little more. So it's not just a black playmat kind of with the black fish here, but also a little more blue. I don't think Danan is a really good card in an Arabian Nights set cube, since it can only attack if your opponent also has an island. I think Flying Man is such a better card in so many ways, because it has flying and it can attack. I only think I currently own like 1 flying man. So what I can do, by the way, is add the numbers to the side, to the corner here, the numbers document like this probably, and then you can still see a little if I talk about numbers and how many I own. So flying men is a C5. I need, I think, 15 of, and each of them is like 10 bucks or so. And I already have all the dandans, which is like, I think I needed 12 of. So yeah, flying men will be better in blue. So let's see. I made a whole video about all the dandans that I own, which was a fun video to make. Like I own like more than 30 dandans, which is quite a significant fraction. I have a whole blue classic dandan deck and a whole bunch of dandans and some more. So a whole bunch of dandans in the set cube and a bunch more just on the side, just because they're funny. But it's just a meme card, nothing I would invest in, actually, like seriously invest in. I would rather choose some reserved list cards for that. Now, Bird Maiden I think is a solid card to draft. It has flying, it's a 1/2. Always in Arabian Nights, remember that these symbols are quite dark. And what I mean by that is very 4 mana, 2/4. So it's worse in that case that it's not a 1 mana 2/4, but its effect is solid. So keep that in mind when you're drafting Arabian Nights and also mixing it with other sets, that you don't skip on the darker numbers. I should zoom in the table a little. I can do that. So maybe like this should be fine. We still can read some cards, right? Let me know what you think. So you can still read the table here and see which cards I own, which cards I don't. And if you have any questions about the numbers or like any notes I made or put in there, just write it in chat. Now we have Giant Tortoise here. 2 mana 1/1, which is a little bit thicker when it's tapped. No, untapped, when it's untapped. So we have a 1/4 for 2. I think it's solid. That would be a solid draft, right? What else do we have? We have Desert Nomads, which cannot be damaged by deserts, and has Desert Walk, which I think is good, in my opinion. What else do we have? This one has Banding. So 0/1 with Banding, a camel. And if it's attacking, it's immune. All creatures attacking a band with camel are immune to desert damage. Okay, so let's look at the desert for a second here. Turtle. Yeah, it is a cute creature, right? The big turtle, if it's not attacking. Yeah, I get it what you mean with flavor win also. Like if it's hidden inside the shell, like it's bigger, and when it comes out and attacks and snaps at you, like it's not in the shell anymore, right? Okay, so now let's look at the desert, which I also find is a solid card actually. Like it doesn't enter tapped and it gives you a colorless mana, solid. In draft doesn't really matter, does it? And you deal 1 damage to an attacking creature after it deals damage. So these can deal damage only when someone dealt damage and attacked. And this is protected by that. So, and the Desert Nomads as well. And the idea in this set cube will be that you kind of have like 2 or 3 deserts maybe in your deck after drafting. Maybe even 5. Like there are a whole bunch of deserts in this set cube. It's a C11, by the way. It's the only C11. Which is this one. And let's scroll up here. I need, what was it, like 33 or so? Yeah, 33. So you not having a desert is very, very unlikely. And you're able to actually deal quite a bunch of damage with deserts if you're attacked with a creature. You can even kill the Juzam de Jin with 5 deserts if it attacked you. So keep that in mind. You will not attack the player if they keep their deserts untapped. Now, what I'm thinking, instead of just looking through all the cards, we could maybe just mix them up now and just see what we get. Though we will not see all the cards, so maybe it makes sense to look through all the cards first. I mean, we're currently just 2 people. Let me know what you want. Like, would you find it interesting to just look at all the cards and talk about them? I like the camel as well. It's such a cute artwork. I also find camels generally very fascinating. They eat like thorny cacti, and they don't mind. Camels are very interesting creatures. In real life also. In the set cube, I don't know. Would I play camel though? Like, would I draft it? Banding is like whenever you attack, you can choose any number of banding creatures, which also attack, and 1 non-banding creature, and they all attack in a band. And when your opponent blocks, you may choose how the damage of your opponent's creatures is distributed onto your creatures. And that is really interesting because you can make it so that none of your creatures die, possibly. And yeah, so banding is solid, but also weird. And I think the same applies to blocking, if I'm not mistaken, but correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so Energetic decided. We have a second one also in chat if they want to decide, but currently I will just go through the cards with you together, and you can also let me know about your opinion on these cards. And let's look what we have here. We have Metamorphosis, which I also like to play in Commander, actually. So you'll see a couple of Commander cards as well in the set cube, which probably maybe you've never seen before. So Metamorphosis, I don't even think had that many reprints later on. And you can sacrifice a creature and you get mana equal to its mana cost +1. And I think it's any 1 color even. Okay, so that's solid. But you can only use it to cast another creature. So the idea is that you might play a Galta. Let's get so in Commander especially, let's get a Scryfall window in here as well. Let me see, like this. Let's put this up here. Give me a sec. Like so, and maybe like this. A Galta. The Primal Hunger Galta, I mean. So you pay like 2 green mana and you can get 13 mana out of this Galta by sacrificing it. You can even attack next round at first and then sacrifice the Galta. But at the same time you can just sacrifice it and get 30 mana out of it. And that's just like crazy, just for 2 or 3 mana if you play Metamorphosis as well. Yeah, I think really undervalued in Commander, and yeah, I think you should try it out. In a draft environment though, I don't know. Normally you would like to keep your creatures, and I think in a draft environment of just drafting Arabian Nights, I don't think it's that great, actually. Like, it's cheap, but it's also a card in your hand, and normally you want to keep your creatures around. It would mean that you have an expensive creature on your board, and you have an even bigger, more expensive card that you could not normally play, which is why you want to sacrifice it. I don't think Metamorphosis is a good card, though. Metamorphosis is in there like how many times? It's a C4, so 12 times. So you will stumble upon it and you might have to draft it at some point. Yeah, So there's that. But I don't think you're gonna see it often in a Arabian Nights draft, in my opinion at least. But let me know if I'm missing anything. Let's look at the next card. We have Unstable Mutation. This one I think is solid. You could enchant it onto, let's say, maybe a Bird Maiden or so. Ooh, you can enchant it on a turtle, right? Ooh, that is nice. You can enchant it onto a turtle, and you give it +3/+3, and at the beginning of your upkeep, it gets a -1/-1 counter. And when it... What was it? These cards remain even moved. Okay, so it just slowly dies, right? I thought there was like a cap of 3, but no, it just slowly dies. So enchanted for just 1 mana, you have a... What do you have? A 3/4, a 4/4, a 4/7, a 4/7 for just 3 mana, which slowly becomes smaller, but until then it deals a whole bunch of damage and can also block a whole bunch of damage. So, and I mean, like on a Juzam the Jinn, it's just amazing, right? Enchanting this on a Jinn, making it an 8/8, which loses you 1 life and makes it become smaller is brutal. An Unstable Mutation is in there quite a bunch. 15 times. And I think I already own it 15 times. I think I marked it wrongly. Ooh, I made a little mistake. Great that I did that and found it. Like, I still need 3 Unstable Mutations. Let me mark this in white here. Because this I still need. Plop, there it goes. I think it has a blue tint. Give me a sec. A yellow tint, I think. Let's make this clearly white, like this. Okay, I need 15 of, so there will be 15 Unstable Mutations in the set cube. And Energetic said that you could cast the Island Fish. Yeah, in the rares there is this fishy here. The bigger Dandan, if you want to call it that. What does it do? So it costs 7, so it's a 4 here, it's not just 3. Blue, it's a 6/8. You pay 3 blue, or it doesn't untap. It cannot attack if your opponent does not control an island. And yeah, it just has island home. So if you don't have an island, it also dies. It's not the best. Like I don't think I would like draft this one. Like if I had this as my uncommon in the set cube, like Dandan and the fish, if your opponent doesn't play blue, how? Oh, you want to metamorphosize this one? Sure. The thing is, let's take a sec here. Let's get Scryfall in here again. Give me a sec. Set ARN. And let's sort this set by mana value. Does it? Yeah, there it is. You can sort it here by set number, by mana value. And then you see all the zeros. What's the biggest stuff that you can cast? Like, why would you sacrifice the fish? What could you cast for it? Ooh, you could use Aladdin's Ring one more time to deal 4 damage to any target. With infinite mana, this is brutal, but otherwise not very useful. Aladdin's Lamp. Instead of drawing a card from the top of your library, draw X cards, but choose only 1 to put into your hand. You must shuffle the cards and put them at the bottom. I also wouldn't cast it. Like, it's an okay card, but it's not great. Like, in a draft environment, it's okay, but it's also 10 mana. I mean, the thing is, if your hand is bad and you have like a big creature on the board, and like the fish, for example, you sacrifice it and cast the lamp early on, you can kind of scry through your deck a little, but you have to pay mana as well, so it's not the best also. But it is a possibility. Like, it's not the worst, but also not the best. Yeah. I don't know. I'm still not convinced about Metamorphosis. But do prove me wrong in a game of Arabian Nights draft. Okay, let's put this aside again. And let's continue looking at the commons. We already looked at the desert. This one is quite played. I think I might replace it at some point. Like, the whitening on this one is quite serious. But it's the Mirage version. There are some that has like a white speck here that's not damage on the card. And there are some that don't have it. And I just like this one. But yeah, I should replace it at some point. And this one maybe as well. There are some that are quite used. You see, like, people played with them, and you see the age of these cards of the very first expansion of Magic the Gathering. Okay, then we have the Ogress with the very big ears. And she has 2 for 2 black. You get a 3/2, so that's solid. Unless you pay 2 each time Ogress attacks, it does 3 damage. Okay, so that's not great. But it's also not bad. Like, it is an okay card. I think I would draft it. I just pay for it a couple of times. I would like put like 2 of her in the deck and just keep paying the mana costs for her. And if I don't want her, I can just block with her. So for 2 mana, 3/2, solid, I think. I think the Urk Raiders was similar, right? This one does not only cost you 1 black, it is 1 and a black. So this is the dark version. Keep that in mind, it's not just a 2 mana card. It is a 2 mana card, it's not just a 1 mana card. Whenever you attack, they do 2 damage to you at the end of turn. Ugh. Raiders do no damage to you during the turn they are summoned. Oh, these are bad. Ooh, they are so much worse than the Ogress. Oof. I mean, you can always like put the unstable mutation onto creatures. Oof. That's not a good card. So I would draft it if I really had to, but not on my terms, not not really. Okay. Yeah. They are decent. Decent is a good word to put it that way. They're decent, but not the best. Man, Stone Throwing Devils would be so much better. Kind of sad, yeah. Well, one would have to try, you know, like you deal 2 damage with them, you get dealt 2 damage, but if you boost them, are able to boost them in any way, they are interesting. They're interesting. Okay, what does Fish Liver Oil do? It gives Island Walk. Huh. If your opponent has blue, I mean, I would maybe, if those were one of the last cards, I would draft them if I played blue just to be able to have it in sideboard and block and not get blocked. So if my opponent plays islands, I'm unblockable with a creature, so that's good. Yeah, you take 2, but you'd only deal 2, you know? Like, you just both go down to 18 and then you both go down to 16. Like, it doesn't really help, you know? We already had Camel. With War Elephant, which is another banding card. I think white is okay in Arabian Nights draft. It even tramples, so that's great. So you attack with Camel and War Elephant, and you're able to have like a 2 mana, a 2/3 kind of 2/3 trampler. And then you band it with the Cavalry as well, which also just has trample for 4 or 3/3. So these are really good. These are really good together. I like white in Arabian Nights. Interesting. The army gives all attacking creatures +2/+0. This, again, on Urk Raiders, I would get behind that. If you have enough of these, to be able to deal more damage than you're dealt yourself. Which is also such a fun thing in these old sets, that these cards punish you for having something on the board, you know? Like, if this doesn't get through but also doesn't die, it just punishes you. And the Dark is very similar to that. So it's really funny, really interesting to try to make it work in some way, kind of. What else do we have? So, Army. I think Army, by the way, is a common. What do we have? Yeah, it's a C4, so 12 times this one is in here. Arabian Nights was a really small set, so there will be many duplicates of each card in there. Curd Ape, we already looked at earlier when we looked at the 1-drops. This is really good. This was good back in the day with a Taiga on the battlefield. It's great, it's bonkers. But just in an Arabian Nights set cube, turn 1, Mountain Curd Ape, turn 2, Forest and something else. And you attack for 2 with no downside, and you have a 3 on its butt. Really useful. We had these two. This is the lighter version of the Raiders. So, again, for those who don't know, these are the two versions of many cards. And there are some that are readable easier and some that aren't. Fish liver oil as well, somewhere. Oh, we shouldn't mix those up. Remind me if I mix up some cards, because we have to separate the commons and the uncommons to build the boosters later on. So, the piety, I think it's pronounced. All defending creatures gain +0/+3. Also a very solid card. You attack with everything, with your banding creatures. Your opponent thinks they can block. And then at instant speed, they are just bigger and survive. Solid for 3, though. I mean, all of them. I mean, it's very similar to this army, right? So, you have both on your hand. Either you get through, deal more damage, or your opponent blocks and your creatures survive. So, really nice white cards in here. This artwork I really like. Her Jackal, really pretty. For 1, oh, another 1 mana. I skipped over that one. Her Jackal. Tap to prevent target creature from regenerating. Ooh, that is such a unique thing. Oh. You could put that into a commander deck and just annoy people who still play with the regenerate. And these people could also be me. I like regenerating creatures because they don't print it anymore. Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. In commander, I wouldn't play it just because there could be someone. If I knew there was someone who has like 10 regenerate cards, I would put it in just to annoy them. But it's such a unique effect. Is there any card in Arabian Nights that has regenerate? Actually has. Oh, regenerate. Let's see. There's none. There's none. That's so random. Okay, so her Jackal actually is just a 1/1 for 1 in the set cube, especially. If you go outside the set cube, it could get interesting. Like if you have regenerate from unlimited. Let's show you that. Art. Oh, well, what is regeneration wizard, right? Let's do it like this. So, yeah, this one from unlimited. This enchants a creature and gives it regeneration, and this one can tap to stop it for the remainder of the turn. Though, in response, they can just tap for another green and, well, then they regenerate. But it's really interesting. Such a unique effect. Very beautiful art. I don't think great in a set cube, though. If you need some more 1-drops, why not? Why not? Desert Nomads, we already talked about. Bird Maiden. This is the Ogre, which switches sides So for 1 mana, you have a 2/2 that goes over to your opponent if they have less life than you. It's not great. I mean, you could cast Unstable Mutation onto it, attack for 5 on turn 2. That could be very brutal. Then it goes over to your opponent and they get a 4/4 and attack you for 4. Then you get a 3/3 and attack for 3. So that could be interesting to have this combo going, right? I like that idea. So that could be a thing. If you don't have both on the starting hand, it's not the best. Like it also switches if it didn't attack, you know. I just see, oh, I thought each upkeep, it's just the controller's upkeep. So you attack for 5. Next turn, I still have it tapped on my field, and then it's my upkeep, and they get the 4/4 to block with. No, yeah, right. It's untap and then upkeep, yeah. So they get it tapped. They get it untapped, and they can block with it. Ooh, so it's slower even. So you have but you have a 5/5 to attack with first turn, enchanted with the Unstable Mutation. Then it's their upkeep, your upkeep. They go down to it goes down to 4. They get it. Then it's their turn. It's the upkeep trigger again, and they get a 3/3 to attack with. So you attacked for 5, and they attack you for 3. So that is interesting. That is interesting. Slower than I thought, but interesting. Okay. Sandstorm. That is an interesting common. All attacking creatures are dealt 1 damage for 1 green. Is that a common? It's a common, right? Yeah, I have 4 off currently. Ooh. I think that can be interesting. Like it's like desert, right? For each creature. Could be interesting. If you have multiples, you could even wipe the board and your creatures survive. You always have to keep in mind if you cast it that your opponent can just block it with a +0/+3. And they will wait till you cast the 3rd one, you know? Kind of. If they have 1/1s, obviously they will cast it earlier. Okay. I think it's a solid card. Gets rid of the smaller creatures and stacked with more of them, you can actually get rid of a couple of creatures of your opponent. I like it. I like it. With Wolfie. Wolfie can tap to give another creature +1/+1. So its power is 1/1. Its power toughness is 1/1. And for 2 mana, you get a 1/1, which can tap to give another creature +1/+1. Okay. I think it's solid. I think that's solid. Solid Wolf. Which can also boost the Ogre also, for example. Alright. I think currently red, green and white the best, I think. This would be the color that I would go with if I'm able to choose, if I could choose. These we all saw. Then we have the Asp, Naf's Asp. For 1 you get a 1/1 which, when it dealt damage, forces your opponent to pay another 1 colorless during their draw phase, or they are dealt another damage. So it kind of deals 2 damage, which I find interesting. I think it's a solid card. Solid pick in a draft environment. This, I think, obviously is a no-brainer. So this one phases a creature out, and then it phases it back in when Oubliette is destroyed, or leaves the battlefield in any way. I think I would put in like 2 or 3 of if I could, and Oubliette is a common, actually, which is why it's also pauper legal. Oubliette, I have 3 of. 1 of them is played, apparently. 2 of them is played. 2 of them are played. It's a C4, so 12 of them are in the set cube. Yeah, strong card, I think. Strong card because you can get rid of the strongest, most expensive creature that is annoying you, and it's just gone. And there is not much removal in the set cube, so I think only green can deal with Oubliette. We'll see with which card in a moment. So let's put this to the side here and talk about it in a sec. Witches. Quombage Witches for 2. You get a 1/3. You can tap it to deal 1 damage to any target. Ooh. Oh, but your opponent can also deal 1 damage to any target. Ugh. You choose your opponent. You choose. So you choose the target first, and then your opponent chooses. Okay. Oof. I don't know what I should think of her or of them. Like the ability to just deal 1 damage. I mean, you can choose when you want to do it, right? I think I would draft it still because for 2 mana, 1/3 is solid with no downside. And just to be able to just do it whenever you want at instant speed, just tap her or tap them. I think it's good. Yeah. Let me know why you think it's fantastic, which is much stronger than I described it. Because it can deal 1 damage to any of your creatures, but probably most of the time you will not activate it when any small creatures are on your board that you want to keep, right? So worst case, probably they will just ping you. Yeah. I agree. Fantastic, I'm still not convinced of, but I get it. Okay, so, War Elephant, Bird Maiden. Ooh, I told a story on the channel why this card was banned back in the day. Because if you look at it, for 4 mana you get a 0/3. If it goes to the graveyard, you get a 4/4 rug with flying. It's like a token. So, yeah. The rest is a description what a token is. The reason is actually that people played it just like they read the card. And they had 7 in their starting hand. They drew a card, ended the turn, and discarded the Ruck Egg, which goes to the graveyard. Doesn't say it has to die, and then you get a 4/4 flying at turn 1. So yeah, today obviously it has to die, so it's much worse, but still solid in my eyes. I think it's good, even, and it's a common. It's a common. Later on, it became a rare, actually. Yeah. Oubliette is great. I agree. You're right. Maybe I shouldn't say a limit on like only 3, but like probably we should have as many as we can. So if we see it in a booster pack, we should pick it. What else? Sandstorm, more egg. We already had those. Oubliette. Okay, all of these we already had. This one is also quite used. The Wolfie here. Might have to replace it at some point. Let's look at this last stack before we look at the rares and uncommons. There's Flying Men. For 1, you get a 1/1 flyer. Really pretty artwork, in my opinion. And a solid pick, in my opinion. What else? Desert Nomads. And is the removal a uncommon, actually? That is interesting. I thought it was a common. Okay, so we looked through all the commons, and now we're going to look at the uncommons, which has some removal in green, if I recall that correctly. Let me check in on the table for a sec here. Hear snoring in the background. It's my dog. It's not me, I promise. Set ARN. And then we have Desert Twister, this one. Oh, sorry, I forgot to switch over. There we are. Desert Twister, which can destroy any card in play. and is able to actually destroy an oubliette. There is no more removal if I am not mistaken. I mean, there is City in a Bottle, which I will probably not add into the set cube, since it just ends the game and puts it in a draw, ends it in a draw kind of, or the person that drew more cards loses the game. That could be the only reason why I would add it. Just to be able to punish the person who drew the most cards, but it's such an unsatisfying win. Yeah, nothing that can destroy. I mean, you could play the Ring of Maruf. That could get you some removal out of your binder. Nope. No more oubliette removal. This goes against blue cards, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think that is it. If I missed something, let me know, but I think that's it. So oubliette is very strong. Very, very strong. So let's put those to the side. So many cards. Plop. Like this. And let's look at some uncommons and rares. Let's put those here. Decided differently. Zip like this. Let's get some more colors in here. Yeah, that's much better. Okay. Now, we already talked about the Jasconius fish, island fish. It's just like a dandan, but big. So this guy here. Yeah, and you have to pay for it. I'm not the biggest fan of dandan or the Jasconius fish, since it's just not as great. So I would probably not draft it. Your opponent has to have islands, and if they don't, you can't do anything with it. Aladdin's Lamp I like. For 10 mana you can kind of scry. So oftentimes you are in a draft game at like a stalemate where no one does anything anymore and no one attacks, but you have all that mana lying around and everyone just plays lands and nothing else happens. And being able to just put in all the mana and being able to just get the card that you need from your deck at some point, just like some removal or anything, I think it's solid. 10 mana is brutal. 10 mana is brutal. Okay, let's get some water into my glass. 1 sec. Ooh. So, what do we have here? Sorceress Queen for 3. We can turn a creature into a 0/2. It still keeps its abilities, but it's instant speed. And I think it's great. I think it's a solid inclusion. King Suleiman. The thing about the king is that they also just destroy Ifrits and Jinns. I was looking at cards that are able to deal with oubliette. But yeah, the king is king. King is great to remove those big nasty Jinns that will actually dominate the game if you're playing white. Juzam the Jinn should be scared. It should be scared. Okay. Sorcerer's Queen, I think really solid. This one is 3 times in here. Cyclone, I find a interesting commander card as well. I don't think many people know it. For 4 mana you get an enchantment and you put a chip on it. So a counter every upkeep, and then you have to pay 1 green per counter that is on it. And then it deals 1 damage to each player and each creature in play. And even the creatures that are not flying, and the flyers, all of them, just get dealt a whole bunch of damage. And this accumulates. Like, this gets big and scary at some point. And I like to also play it in proliferate decks, like Atraxa decks, for example. Although, you don't want to play that many colors, so maybe a 2-color deck. A 2-color deck, like Grothama, for example. I played a Grothama deck for a moment, for a while, for like a year or two. And it also gets dealt damage, doesn't it? Also trigger for any damage it is dealt. When it leaves the battlefield, equal to the amount of damage dealt to it, yeah. So it draws a whole bunch of cards. And putting Cyclone in a mono-green deck is just so beautiful. And it's such a solid board wipe at that point. Like, just let it get big, and if it's at 8, or you have some proliferate cards, you can trigger it even earlier. So, yeah. In a draft environment, I think I would put it in. I think I would put it in, since it is able to be a board wipe. And I like that, because there are not many board wipes. It kills the small creatures one by one. And I think Drop of Honey also does similar things. Really interesting that green gets all the board wipes. It's in here 3 times, so will be an interesting pick if we go green. Sindbad. I think Cyclone, by the way, sorry, one comment about Cyclone. If you have the what was it? The giant turtle. Where was Turtle? Turtle Boy. Here. It survives 3 triggers. So that's even better. And combined with Unstable Mutation and the Ogre also, you get this. You have this Ogre that dies even quicker now, and you're on your opponent's battlefield as well. So you deal the initial damage, and then on your opponent's turn they just barely have any Ogre left, kind of, in a couple of turns. So that's really interesting thing to keep in mind. Sindbad I also played in Commander, not as a commander, but in a pirate kind of deck. For 2 mana, you tap it, you look at the top card. If it's not a land, it goes into the graveyard. Otherwise, you draw it. So it can be sad and devastating if you don't draw land. But filtering out through your deck and just putting stuff into your graveyard in Commander is great. I think in a draft is not the best. For 2 mana, 1/1, I think I would not pick it, actually. Let me know what you think. The Ghoul I like for 3 mana, by the way. That's a 2. A hidden 2 and a black. You get a 1/1, and if any creature died, you put a +1/+1 counter on it, on the Ghoul. I like that one. I think it's good. I think it's a solid card. Also combined with Cyclone, for example, though, you have to be careful. Yeah, you have to be careful. You will kill the Ghoul. If the Ghoul is already a little bigger, it will be really interesting. Or with Drop of Honey as well. We already talked about Queen. Guardian Beast, we looked at a moment earlier. For 4 mana, it does the following. If it is untapped, your non-creature artifacts cannot be enchanted, destroyed, or taken control of. If something occurs that would destroy the Guardian Beast and the artifacts at the same time, only the Guardian Beast is destroyed. And if an artifact is enchanted or stolen while the Guardian Beast is tapped, it remains so when Guardian Beast becomes untapped. So it protects your artifacts as long as it's untapped, even protects them from distraction. And if it is tapped and someone steals something or destroys something, well, if he untaps, he just doesn't rewind it, though. But he's interesting. There are a couple of artifacts in the set. There are not many destruction spells of artifacts. So as long as you only play Arabian Nights, I think this is not the best card to draft, actually, even though it's like a 500 euro card. And I need like 3 of or 2 of. Yeah, 2 of. It's a U2. So, yeah. Not the best card to draft, in my opinion. But solid enough to be played in Commander in any artifact deck. I played it in a King Makar deck. Oasis, it taps to prevent 1 damage to any creature. With all the deserts lying around and your opponent's probably dealing some damage to your creatures, this is like the counter to a desert, kind of. And I think if you get an Oasis, you should draft it, just to be able to protect your creature from many deserts. Though it does not tap for mana, keep that in mind. Interesting. I did not know that. I did not look at that. Interesting. Alibaba taps a wall. I do not think there are walls in this set. Are there? Set ARN and type wall. Let's also get this on your side. Type wall. None. Yeah. Not a good pick. I mean, it's a 1-for-1. 1-1-for-1, but if you have anything else that you can draft, not this one, I think. Brassman, for 1, you get a 1/3 that does not untap, and you have to pay 1 to untap it. Oh, it's solid. It's good. It's a good blocker. Good 1-drop. I would play that. Yeah. Sinbad again, we had that. Magnetic Mountain. This is blue hate. Blue creatures now also don't untap. Oh man, this is like the anti-Dandan card. For each blue card you want to untap, you have to pay 4 during the upkeep. And that is it. Oof. That is a mean card. I mean, I would put it in sideboard if I play red, just to annoy the blue player. Yeah. And there again, there's not many destruction spells in Arabian Nights, so it is solid. Ali from Cairo. This one was, I think, banned or restricted earlier in vintage days. For 4 you get a 0/1, and if your life would go down below 1, it becomes 1 instead. So as long as this guy sticks around, you're kind of invincible. And very good removal is Oubliette for this guy. Just put him into a prison. Boop. Okay, so I would pick that probably if I play red. I think it's okay. It's a good card. Ebony Whores. Ebony Whores for 2. Remove 1 of your attacking creatures from combat. Okay. Treat this as if the creature never attacked, except that this is assigned to block. It cannot choose to block another creature. Okay, so it's kind of like a Maze of Ith for yourself. You attack, you see what your opponent does, and you can pay 2 to save a creature. I don't think it's good, because this one will lie around, and your opponent will know that you have this. They will not go into a trap, kind of. And it's a mono artifact, which means you also have to tap it. Keep that in mind with old vintage cards. If they say mono artifact, you also have to tap them. So you can't even attack with everything and save everything. Not the best. Wouldn't pick it. Cabal Ghoul, Sorcerer's Queen we had. Jeweled Bird, I think this was an anti card. So if you're not playing for anti, you just put it aside. But if you're playing for anti just for fun, for the fun olden days, from 1 mana you draw a card and exchange Jeweled Bird with the anti card. So for those who weren't around earlier and don't know what anti is, everyone has their deck at the beginning of the game, and they both put the first card of their deck face up into like the anti pile. And whoever wins gets both the cards. And in this case, you put the Jeweled Bird and switch out your anti-card with the bird. And where does it go? Your former anti-card goes into the graveyard. So you just save it, kind of. It's like a Joker. And that is it. That is what it does. And you even draw a card, so it replaces itself. That's kind of nice. Let's look at this card that we revealed here. For 2 mana, you get a 1/2 protection from red. Solid card, in my opinion. Aladdin, for 4, you get a 1/1. And you pay 3 and tap it to take control of an artifact from an opponent. Okay, and when it dies, return the artifact. So it can just take control over the artifacts over many turns, and when it dies, you just give them all back. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. I'm not sure if I would pick it, though. Because, like, if you play Antiquities matched with Aladdin, that's a whole different story. But there are not that many artifacts in this set. Let's see, how many are there? There are a couple. How many do you want to take control of, and how many does your opponent actually have on the battlefield? So there are 18. That is not true. That is not true. Flying Carpet and Brassman I have multiple times. There are actually only 14 artifacts in this set. So, yeah. I don't think I would pick it. It's just a 4. It's just a 1/1 and it just dies to 1 ping damage. Just a sandstorm or whatever. Brassman we had. Flying Carpet I think is great. It gives a creature flying. And it has a really funny effect. If the creature is destroyed, the carpet is destroyed as well. It has a mono artifact. So it kind of functions like a equipment, kind of. For 2 mana it's equipped for 1 turn and flies. Aladdin's Ring, great if you have infinite mana. Okay in a draft environment, I think. So for 8 you deal 4 damage, or for 16, like you have to pay it. Oh, with infinite mana it doesn't work. It's a mono artifact. Always look at mono artifact. Oh man, it's not even a combo piece. That is sad. Yeah, I still think I would draft it actually. To be able to deal 4 damage is brutal. 1 turn, you cast it. Next turn, you actually remove creatures or kill players after 5 more turns. So that's a solid card. What do we have here? A Djinn for 3. It's a 6/3, promising. If you choose to attack, flip a coin. And opponent, yeah, sure, okay. If the flip ends up in your opponent's favor, it is tapped and doesn't attack. Okay, so every second turn you deal 6 damage. Solid. I would play it. Just stays tapped if it doesn't deal any damage. And doesn't even attack, like it doesn't have to be blocked or anything. Okay. Sandals give Island Walk, similar to the Carpet. Okay. Interesting. Brassman. El Hajjaj. For 3 you get a 1/1 and it has lifelink. Okay. If you boost it, it is great. So I would play that one. I would play it. Jander's Ring for 6, mono artifact, keep that in mind. And you can pay 2, discard a card that you just drew, and draw another card. Oof, that is expensive for 6 mana, and then you have to pay another 2. I think I would draft that card, because in this case, or that point in the game, when you can actually pay that much mana, you actually want to filter out through your deck. So it's good. It's good. It's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. Merchant Ship for 1, you get a 0/2. If it attacks, you gain 2 life. Ooh, that's nice. Cannot attack unless opponent has islands. Oh yeah, great, great, great. And if you don't have an island, it dies. Yeah, it's not good. Similar to Dandan and the other big fishy. This one. The whole cycle isn't really great. Like, where is it here? That is not great. Not a great cycle. Not a great cycle to draft. So we're not gonna draft those. Bottle of Suleiman. Okay, for 4, and then you pay 1. It's a mono artifact. You flip a coin, and if you lose. You lose 5 life. If you win, you get a 5/5 flying Djinn token. Ooh. And, oh, interesting. No matter how the flip turns out, the bottle is sacrificed. Interesting. So for 1, you sacrifice it, and 50-50, either you lose 5 life or get a 5/5 Djinn. Oof. I often like to play it safe, but it's so much more fun to play it risky also, but 5 life, it's 1/4 of your life. I'm not sure if I would pick it. It depends on the rest of the booster if I would pick it. But you could win big also. Like a 5/5 flyer is so much worth it. Abu Jafar. For 1 you get a 0/1, and if it dies without regenerating... ooh, interesting. All creatures that it was blocked with also die. Interesting. Or being blocked. Oh, interesting. Okay. So either you're blocked so that no one would block it, but if it blocks, it destroyed all the creatures it blocked. Interesting. I think that's solid. It's like an assassin, kind of. It would die either way. It's a 0/1. For 1. Yeah, I would pick it. Sinbad we had. The Island of Whack Whack. Really funny card name. It does not produce mana though. But you can reduce a flying creature's power to 0. And I think that's worth it actually. There are some flyers in this set that are quite scary. And if they have too many, you want to get rid of them. And this is like a kind of Maze of Ith for flyers. Pretty artwork, funny name. I would draft it. Last one before we actually go into a little draft and see what it could look like. We have the Ring of Maraf for 5, and then it's a mono artifact that you remove from the game if you activate it for 5. And instead of drawing the top card, instead of drawing, you actually select a card from outside the game. And I really like the idea of people bringing their binders to the set cube draft and being able to actually pick out a card from outside the game to put a newer card, probably, very likely, into the set cube and play with it for the rest of that match. Yeah, I really like that idea. Or you pick a sideboard card if there's anything interesting. So the idea for now will be, these are all the comments. I will put this Excel table away here, the numbers table. And the next thing will be, you have all your commons and we're going to shuffle them. We're going to shuffle them real nice. And we're also going to shuffle the rares uncommons and create some booster packs. And then we're gonna draft. So this is just gonna take a minute or two. It's a great time to get some coffee. I don't know what time it is. It's like 9 p.m. here in Germany. But if you have any questions about drafting, also let me know. Mix those together here, these piles, and then we're gonna start creating some booster packs. Yeah, and I'm really interested if you watched this far into the live stream or if you just joined, if I inspired you to actually create a set cube, because there are some people on this channel that actually build a set cube, a vintage set cube. They already had maybe some set cubes earlier. But yeah, it doesn't have to be the most expensive set like Arabian Nights. It can be a simple The Dark set cube, which you already can get for, I think, under $1,000. And you can even play it earlier than just buying all the cards. You can just enjoy it earlier and just play with these silly old cards and experience a set that barely anyone has experienced in their life. Like when it came out, when was that? Like 1994. I was 2 years old. I couldn't experience it back then, and when I started playing it like 7 years old, 5 years later, so 1999 is when I started playing. This set no one had, and back then, like, also, like, no one wanted this set. It was just a janky old set. Also, Arabian Nights was a janky set. Like, no one played that. Everyone wanted the new stuff. And this is a piece of history that I really like to enjoy and share with people, friends that just want to have a nice time together and play a nice draft of a piece of Magic history. So these are the commons mixed. Don't mix them up. And mix them up, but don't mix them up with the uncommons. The uncommons are shuffled easier because there are many different ones and it's also a smaller pile. Not many duplicates in there. Let's give them a good shuffle. And let's create our booster packs. So, and back in the day, and this is how I want to recreate that, the booster packs of a Arabian Nights set were actually 6 commons and 2 rares, or 2 uncommons. This is one booster pack. Now this is what we're gonna do for 6 boosters. And then we already have one player ready here to play a draft. I chose to give each player 6 booster packs because in a normal draft you have like a 15 card booster and you get 3 boosters. And then you have like 45 cards in total after drafting all the cards. And with a vintage set cube, you want similar cards in hand for each player to build their decks. And with 8 card booster packs, you need 6 packs for each player to have around 45 cards in total. In this case, 48 cards for each player. So this is the idea why I chose to give each player 6 cards. What else did we have? Do we have in chat? Arabian Nights is really rare. Yeah. And today even rarer. Back in the day, in 1999, I think you could still get some booster packs. I would guess for $100 maybe. But like the cards weren't really like actually played, right? And I think that, I mean, back in the day, like you should have bought those, right? But for me, collecting these set cubes is also kind of an investment, like in the sense of that I put money into a set of cards that I know won't go down in price. When I buy all the modern cards, tomorrow they're reprinted and my card is worth half as much. So this is why I liked starting to collect reserved list or vintage cards. Most of these commons start at like $3 or higher. Some of the commons are like $20 per piece. So, and the prices won't go down further. That's one of the reasons why I like to collect vintage set cubes. But I understand if you say, well, I can't really buy that expensive cardboard. Either start out small, just as I said, buy the dark cards because these are already vintage and fun to play with and old and also won't go down much further in price. And or enjoy the journey and just buy one card today and next month another one, and after a month you already have more than a booster pack. See, like, start out small and start trading away the cards that you actually don't need and just have lying around, or that you already have like 5 times. Why do you need 5 of each card, you know? Like, or maybe why have 4 of each shock land? Just isn't 1 of each enough? Like, there are different things that you have to consider, you know? Yeah, the idea of not having to change anything about the cube, that is true, yeah. Obviously you can chaos draft and then you have to pick out the cards again, but this is also what you have to do with the cube anyways. but you can just bring it to a group of friends who maybe played earlier and don't play today anymore. They just sold their collection, and you can just bring it and play with them. Like, it's just like a fun game with friends, you know. I wouldn't play it with entire strangers, you know, just because like some of the cards are expensive, obviously. But the ability to have a nice game with friends is cool. It's a cool idea. And I played a Arabian Nights set cube with friends of a friend, and it was a fun night that we had. And I think one or two of them played, still played Magic the Gathering, but the one friend that I actually wanted to play with didn't play anymore. They had like a deck or so maybe flying around somewhere. But yeah, they didn't have a real collection, and they didn't feel like having strong enough decks, and yeah. But the idea of playing a fun cube game of just everyone is on the same level and no one knows these cards, that is what he liked and enjoyed. So while I talked, I created three packs of 6-pack each for every player, and let's put them here to the side maybe so you can still see them. So these are all 6 packs, each of these piles, and the idea will be to see if we can draft together a deck as a little fun end of the video, to see how would a cube draft look like. I only have enough cards currently to draft with 3 people, and also we are here on a live stream. Like, real drafting is kind of impossible, but what we can do is actually to kind of mimic how a draft could look like. So we have like all the 3 players, each of them gets a booster pack, and we're gonna put it on this little rolling thingy here. I don't know what's it called in English. I don't even know what's it called in German, actually. Like a spinning table. Oh, a spinning table. I think that could be what it's called. And then we have the 3 players that have these booster packs here. Let me get a sip before we start. I have actually never played any other cubes than my vintage cubes. Like, I never had the opportunity or even liked playing it because I wanted to play with my commander decks. So this is an argument I understand if someone says, yeah, I don't want to build a cube. But having a cube myself and doing it kind of as an investment and also kind of as a historical opportunity, or being able to share the history of MTG, this is what inspired me to actually build this. Like, not only collecting and having them collect dust in my binders. This is why I liked the idea suddenly of creating a cube. And I started with the Dark set cube because my cousin gave me so many the Dark cards, and I had already 100 or 200 the Dark cards, so I could just start by collecting the rest. Yeah, that is true. A sealed was also what I thought I could do, but then we would just have a whole bunch of cards here. And I think it's more interactive to do a little draft now than to do a sealed. But generally, yeah, if you don't have 10 people, and these set cubes are built for 10 people, or you don't have that many cards yet of your set cube and can maybe host 4 people, you can also do a sealed. Though, yeah, I'm mistaken a little. You'd still need more booster packs if you're doing a sealed, so you would need 12 per player. So if your set cube is almost finished, but you don't have that many friends around, or don't know that many people, you could still do a sealed and not draft. Yeah, that is also an option. You could just do a two-player sealed also, just like a fun afternoon with your friend, significant other or whoever. That is true. So Right, so the idea is we have 3 players, 1, 2, and 3, and we pick our booster pack and see what we get. And then I will randomly pick out some cards that they drafted to have like the feeling of, okay, some cards are missing, and we see what we can actually do with the pack. So we already looked at all the cards early in the video, so I will not read through all of them again, which is good, so we have some less downtime. And let's see what we have here. Ooh, there are quite a bunch of doubles. I think we should replace the doubles with other random cards, at least at the beginning, just to be able to get some more variety in. So I picked out 3 more random cards. I will put those 3 back into the box. This is what can happen, obviously, in a cube. So you tell all the players to actually look through the pack and see if there are any doubles in there. I actually do not really like any of the rares uncommons here, so I wouldn't pick any here. Still, the Urk Raiders I'm not a big fan of. Desert Nomads, I don't know. I am currently thinking about any of these 4 cards, and I think bigger creatures are harder to get later on than smaller creatures, in my opinion. So I might go with the Moorish Cavalry, but you can also let me know in chat what you would pick if you have any different opinions. Bird Maiden is a great pick still, I think, and Curd Ape as well. But Curd Ape also forces me to kind of go with the green as well, you know. So yeah, would you rather pick the Curd Ape than the Cavalry? Because if I go Curd Ape, I would have to go with the forest as well. Because my idea would be to build a Naya deck. But then again, the question is, can I actually build one? Like, are there good enough cards in the pool? Curd Ape or Cavalry? I think both of them are. You like Sinbad? Like, he discards your important cards and draws you lands. Like, I'm not convinced of him in a draft environment. I don't know. I understand that he could draw you a second card, but it will always be a land if you draw it. If you can manipulate the top of the library, I understand, but or if you play Commander, but I think Sinbad is not the best. Yeah. I think I will go what you said with Curd Ape and see if we can get some better green and or red cards, and then we can either build with the Curd Ape or not. So let's put this to the side. I will shuffle the pack and put it back here, and then later on remove a card from this pile as well, randomly, because we can't build like 3 decks at the same time. That would be too much work, and also I would have some information. So what we also do is we remove 2 cards randomly. Oh, randomly, we have to shuffle those as well. So I will tell you which are the rares in these piles in a moment, and so let's pick maybe this one and maybe the first one, and let's see what else is in the second pack. So we have those 2 here. Cyclone and Ring. Let's get the box maybe here so I don't get that mixed up. Cyclone and Rift. Ring, I mean. And a Desert. What is second Cavalry? I could go white and red. Though the ring is quite unique. Nomads. Oh, it's a signed one. I like to bling out my set cubes with signed cards. Though Chris Rush is quite expensive since he's no longer with us, sadly. So I won't bling out all of my desert nomads at some point. Probably. If I'm really bored, I might. I think I would go with the ring, actually, since it's a rare and we will have many more options to get a cavalry, but not many to get the ring. And this one is just a joker card. And I have my binder with me, actually. So let's get this card randomly out and this one, and then we roll over again like this. And let's see about pack number 3. These are our 2 rares. Yes, it is jank. It is jank, but I really like it, and I have a big binder. And just to be able to actually get like a damnation out of the binder, or I mean damnation if I play black, but you know what I mean, like a blasphemous act, for example, or the like, or a rolling earthquake or so. Yeah, and I'm home right now, and I can pick anything out. I can pick anything out, and wherever I go, I will also take my binder. So this is just my reality. I just like to trade as well. I actually like Flying Carpet and Brassman. I also like the Unstable Mutation. Metamorphosis, I'm still not convinced. Dandan, I will sadly skip. This is not a segment of Dandan, though we have it on the playmat. And Camel is okay, but I would pick it as one of the last cards currently, since we're still at the beginning. Yeah, I would pick the Carpet. So then we rotate. Wait, not getting distracted here. Okay, so we pick out 2 more random cards here. And then we rotate and get the next pack. I will pick the Cavalry. For me, it's pretty clear that we're going now red-white. For now, red-white. Shuffle again. Pick out 2 random cards from the top. Already shuffled those, and get the next pack. You like the Nomads, huh? I also like the Piety. Nomads or Piety? I like the Chris Rush signed Desert Nomads. I might get swayed by that. Also, Piety doesn't deal any damage, it's just defensive, so it doesn't really help. So let's pick out 2 more cards and rotate and get the next pack. I would say Brassman or Camel. Brassman or Camel, what do you think? I also like the idea that Camel protects, but Brassman is a rare, and Camel will have many more options to pick out. We'll have many more options to pick it. So pick the Brassman just as a solid 1-drop. Yeah. And let's put those aside. By the way, this is also most of the time I only draft set cube if I draft, hey, Camel. And one sec, let me concentrate for a sec before I tell a story. I also did some pre-releases and stuff, but this is also a great video to just learn how to draft and why I pick out certain cards. Currently, we didn't have like a mispick in any way of colors. Currently, we could still go a 3rd color. These 2 will just go into the void, and we have our next round of packs. Let's put those onto the turning table and shuffle. Let's pick this one. This one I like, and see what we have here. So if you wanted to learn how to draft in general or how to draft vintage, there we are. Here we are. I still don't like Aladdin or Sinbad. I don't like Dandan. By the way, this is a double. We will pull it out and get a random new card. Hey, Erg Raiders. War Elephant I like. Trample and Banding. I also like the Asp. The Ogress I also find okay. Oh, I mean, I have the Ape already, and I do want to go green at some point. So question is, in my opinion, question is, do I want to go War Elephant or Asp? And I think the Elephant is better. And now I also use my knowledge of which cards I have and which cards I don't in my set cube. But I think I will pick the War Elephant. Because it has banding also. And the Asp is just a 1/1, a 1/1/1. And this one has trample and banding. And just trample and banding is just so strong. Correct me if I'm wrong. I will shuffle. Give you an option to shout into the chat if I picked something wrong. So, I will also shuffle those booster packs. And shuffle this. Oops. So, now we rotate and we remove 2 cards, by the way, and get our next pack. Ooh, Bliet. Okay, I could go black if I wanted to. Could also pick the Ali from Cairo, though I'm not convinced that he's the best card in a draft environment. Thing is, red, white, and I don't have any removal, right? So Oubliette would be my only option for removal. So maybe I don't go green. Oh. Any opinion? Like, either I go green and can go Curd Ape and attack with stuff. Yeah, but then no green, huh? Then we do a what's the color shard here? A Mardu deck. So let's pick out 2 more cards into the void and rotate. Okay, so we still have our 2 rares, which are, well, they're not the worst. This one we could pick as a sideboard card, the Magnetic Mountain. The Merchant Ship I don't really like. Now that I'm also going black and not green, we would skip Curd Apes and either pick the Ogress or the... Yeah, that's pretty much it. I would pick the Ogress, actually. The rest I'm not so convinced with Ogress. Now let's put those away, and next one. Ooh, Aladdin. I'm still not convinced about Aladdin. Are you convinced about the Raiders, the Urk Raiders? I don't really have anything to boost it with. Ooh, yet. I could have like an army of Allah. Take the Ogre. Oh, I think we skipped the Ogre already. Sorry, that was the... Oh, the Ogre! Yes, the Ogress. Yeah. I thought there was another Ogre. Yes, the Ogress. I think I would pick the Raiders, because Aladdin is like, it takes 7 mana and it's a 1/1. It just dies so quickly. It can take artifacts. But I don't think it will be useful. Okay, we're back to Ali. We said Witches, right? Witches was a good card. Why did I skip over the Witches? I think Oubliette was also in the pack. So I think the Witches are great. We already established that. And let's see what the last card will be from this pack in 3 rounds. These we have to shred. And then next pack. I'd say Magnetic Mountain. Magnetic Mountain for sideboard if we play against blue decks. And then we shred 2 more. And rotate. Well, I guess Sinbad. And then we shred 2 more. Rotate, and let's see. We got a desert. Okay. Desert is solid. This one, these ones I won't pick like on purpose, because there are 33 in the set cube. I don't own 33, but in general, how many do I own? Like 10? 10, yeah, exactly 10. Yeah, only if the cards are really bad, because most of the time there are better creatures and just spell stuff in there that would help me more than a general desert. So, more packs. 1/3 through. Let's open it. Curd Ape. Rock Egg. Ooh, I like Rock Egg. Abu Jafar is also good. So our colors are these. Brassman I wouldn't pick on purpose right now, currently. Curd Ape I wouldn't pick because we're going black and white. So now this one's out and probably Curd Ape is out. I think I like the Rock Egg. I like the Rock Egg. I also like Abu Jafar. Abu Jafar is a rare, Rock Egg is a common. So I would actually pick the Abu Jafar over the other two. Though I know the Rock Egg is a good pick. The Abu Jafar can kill any creature and is just there to intimidate my opponent. Though it's just a 1/1. Abu Jafar? What you thinking? Yes! We're in agreement! I think we would build the same decks. We would have to hope that we're never on the same at the same table, because we would pick the same cards from each other and play the same colors, maybe. So, but it's great. It's great. So it shows me that I have the same arguments like other people that also have experience with older sets as well. It's not completely random what I'm doing. So now opponents pick some 2 random cards, which we're gonna shred, and then we rotate. Take a sip of water. Always stay hydrated, kids. And let's see our next pack. Okay, 2 rares are here. There is a double desert, which we're not gonna fix anymore. Always remind your players, if they have doubles, that they should pick out the doubles, but later on I wouldn't replace them, because someone saw double deserts and did not pick them, and if you would now replace it with a stronger card, that wouldn't be fair. Okay, El Hajjaj I like, but I think the Sorcerer's Queen I like even better. So we would have like a control-y kind of deck here, with some damage dealers and some oubliettes and a Sorcerer's Queen that turns them into smaller creatures. If we would have 2 witches, that would be nice. 2 witches and then Sorcerer's Queen is a nice combo that I just realized. Okay, El Hajjaj is just too small to be of any use currently. Probably with the unstable mutation, it would be a good combo or synergy. But right now, like the way we build the deck currently, it's not the best pick. The rare is gone, the second one. So we only have Alibaba, which I already said is such a bad pick. Taps a wall, and there are no walls in this set. So random. It's a 1/1. A 1/1. Cavalry probably. Cavalry for damage. Camelbird Maiden are solid cards, but not first picks. Good. Next one. Ooh, Sorry. I forgot to shred cards, right? So we shuffle and we shred again. And then we look at if the rock egg is still there. Yes, it is. It is. Rock egg. And there we go. We shred that. And this. Ooh, one card slipped. Let's see. El Hajjaj or Camel. Interesting. For every point of damage it inflicts. We don't have any boosts currently. And I think Camel is much better because it can band and you can get some damage through and some blockers dead. Right, the Camel, I'd say. And maybe someone else. I mean, we could hate pick since it's a rare. For everyone who doesn't draft often, hate picking is you take out one card out of the equation so that no opponent can have it. If someone would play blue and black and boost the El Hajjaj, that wouldn't be so nice for us. So yeah, I think I would actually pick the rare, and camels we still can get later on. So I'm doing the other thing. Let's shred some more and rotate. I really like this table. It's so rolly. So turning. Alibaba, I guess. The rest. I mean, we could hate pick some unstable mutation. We will not play the Alibaba. So let's hate pick the I would hate pick the unstable mutation just so that less of the boosts are here. Dandan I'm not afraid of, and Alibaba is just so bad. Why would I only want one camel in my deck? I mean, if I don't get it, I'd be sad. So maybe 2 camels? I mean, you don't want 3 or 5 camels, obviously. But like 2 so that you always get one throughout the game, I'd say. Curd ape or tortoise? Tortoise. I'd say curd ape. It's a solid 1/1 for 1 still. And tortoise someone else can have. Shred. And last card is Metamorphosis, which we're not going to play. By the way, the shred cards, the cards that we will not play, we can also put to the side. Probably like this. These we will probably not play. Let's put them here. We still have to filter out later when we're done drafting which cards we're actually going to put in, but currently the deck looks like this. Okay, nice Mardu deck. Okay, next pack. Let's these are shredded, by the way. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. We are halfway done with the draft, by the way. And sure, let's just take the first one. Yeah, multiples of the camel won't do anything. That is true. That is true. But my idea was, if you have a second one in the deck, you can be sure that you have banding on the board often enough that you can actually use it. But I get it. I would probably not focus on picking more up. That is true. That is true. And at some point I would even throw out some more. Let's get the light a little lower. Yeah, so it doesn't glare so much. Did I pick the Alibaba? I didn't pick it. What else did I pick instead? I don't remember. I probably hate picked the unstable mutation, right? Yeah, it is good, but there are no walls, so yeah, maybe I should have picked it. I don't know. But I'm also scared of the unstable mutation, which is a common. There will be enough, but taking one out of the equation, I think is good. So, next pack. There are some doubles. Let's get out the Desert Nomads, which is one too many. Ooh, we get another Witches. Well, I think the pick is quite obvious. The witches. Rest we don't really need. There's another Sindbad and some flying, which we hope to get later. But if we're honest, this one would probably get picked. But yeah, we're shuffling in the system, so let's do that and hope it comes back to us. Shuffle the rest of the packs as well. Desert makes 1 mana and 1/1s are worse. That is true, so... That is true. So we wouldn't pick that many 1/1s, right? So... Always the bigger ones. That is so interesting. It's such an interesting set, isn't it? Drafting Arabian Nights... And like it's such a harsh set, kind of like you have this harsh environment of like a desert of heat, and like the small creatures die and they have drop of honey as well. I really like the flavor of this set. Oh man, like the more I draft here, the more I realize how the flavor of the set is with these deserts that deal damage to attacking creatures, making 1/1s kind of useless. More and more over the course of a game. That is so interesting, yeah. And the small ape, if you don't have a forest, dies at some point. So let's see our second pack here. Oubliette or Ring. Ooh. Nice. Earth Raiders I'm still not the biggest fan of. Jander's Ring for later. And the Ghoul would be nice, but I think Oubliette. Easy Oubliette. This is our second Oubliette. Very nice. Okay, let's shuffle this one up. Shred 2 more cards and see what we get in the next pack. I think Oubliette will always be an easy pick, right? I mean, now we could pick the rare Island of Whack Whack, which can reduce flyers to 0. I think I like it. And we already have 2 Oubliettes. I mean, can you ever have enough Oubliettes, right? At some point, opponents are gonna pick the Oubliette. But I really like it. I really like the Island of Whack Whack. And, oh, it cannot produce any mana. What you thinking? Oubliette, common, or rare Whack Whack? Thing is, it is useless if your opponent doesn't have flyers, right? Like it just lies around. You draw it if your opponent doesn't have flyers. Welcome to the stream. Welcome. Yeah. Come by. Come to Germany. Let me know when you're here and we're drafting it. We're drafting it. All 9. All 9 of what, you mean? I will pick the Oubliette, actually, because this one can actually remove the creature for good that we want to get rid of, and the Whack Whack can only get rid of 1 flyer at each turn anyways. So yeah, that's the decision. It is. And maybe in this case, again, like it's better that black is kind of weakened with the exception, with the fact that I took out the or don't include the stone throwing devils. Yeah, Oubliette is better than the island. Next pack. Okay, we can still go flying again, and I think that's good. Because flying tramplers, flying, what else do we want to let fly? Flying cavalry, I guess, currently. We need some bigger creatures, right? Or some booster cards. I think I want the carpet. Carpet. Yeah, it's a rare, probably the carpet. The desert nomads we can get more of later down the line. Next pack. Let's see. Urg Raiders or Camel. Thing is, it's a 2-mana card, by the way. If the Urk Raiders are on the carpet, if they are flying the carpet, we can make sure that we deal 2 damage. Camel on the carpet, if you band with a non-flyer, I think they can still block with non-flyers, right? If I'm not mistaken, they're not just merged into one creature. Ooh, Ragnar. What did Ragnar do? He was such a weird creature. Let's get Scryfall in here for a sec. What was Ragnar? Ragnar. Because I have a picture in mind. I know which one it was. Oh, it regenerates a creature. Oh, that's interesting. It's just a solid effect. Like, you can build anything with it. Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. Greetings from Germany, then. Yeah. I think I would pick the Urk. I would pick the Urk and put the rest into the Void, probably. 2 more into the Void, by the way. And then we spin the table again. Ugh. I would pick out the Cyclone as a hate pick. We will not play it, but we also don't want it against us, and the rest I'm not scared of. And then 2 more into the Void. And spin it. Bird Maiden, our first one. And it also has 1 defense against the deserts. Really nice. I'm really wondering if you pick enough deserts, if you could like actually have like a stalemate in the sense that no one will attack again. Because I think I made a little oopsie somewhere. I don't know. Whatever, someone made an oopsie. Camel. Maybe I made the booster 1 too small, or I forgot to shred 1 card. Anyways, yeah, I wonder if you can create like a stalemate if everyone drafts, or if someone drafts too many deserts, they can just destroy all the creatures. So it is important to get some desert nomads into the deck, maybe in the next booster, to be able to also work against that. Because they will destroy all our attacking creatures 1 by 1. Yeah, desert control deck, right, just like that. Ooh, Tolarian Tracer. Wasn't he that he takes control over creatures if he's blocked or stuff? Yeah, right, just like you wrote, yeah. Really nice. And then you get all the creatures. That sounds fun. Yeah, I had a Angus Mackenzie deck. I took it apart later on, which was like a Super Friends deck. Have never shown it to the channel. But it was fun. It was fun because no one knew it. Like, no one knew what Angus Mackenzie actually does. By the way, I can show it. I can show it here. Angus. I don't know even if I showed the Angus. If I showed the Ragnar before. Maybe I forgot to shove it over. Anyways, Angus Mackenzie. And he has Fog as an ability. And I really like him. Like, I really enjoyed playing him. You always keep like the 3 mana open, and you have like the ability to control who attacks you, who doesn't, or you protect your planeswalkers and stuff. Like, he's really fun. But yeah, again, it's just a Super Friends deck. Well, you came to the correct channel. I'm building so many unique decks and also showing them to the channel. And yeah, if you need inspiration, just come by. But yeah, but yeah, I agree that there are so many decks that you have already seen, and it's refreshing to see people play vintage commanders. Also, the idea of playing pre-modern decks. I should make a video of my 2 pre-modern decks that I own. Pre-modern elves is not the most exciting because it's just elves. But Hannah, Ship's Navigator from Invasion, who returns artifacts and enchantments from the graveyard, is such a cool commander in general, and just reducing it or having the restriction of only playing pre-modern cards opens up for such unique cards, and your opponents kind of underestimate you or want to see where this goes, and I really like that. Very nice, very nice. If you have cards that I didn't show off for the channel, let me know. Like, I would like to know if I forgot any cards or if new cards came along that I haven't included yet. Let's get 3 more boosties in here. These are our last 2 boosters. And then we are done with the draft. The stream again has taken longer than I would have expected. I think because we looked at all the cards in detail, but also it's interesting to see all these old cards and think about them for a moment. So I don't mind that much, and I hope you're still enjoying yourself. So let's see what pack number, what are we, 5 brings us. If we have any doubles, oof, we have double Herjackals. Let's put those aside here, get 2 replacement cards. We have a Wolfie to replace, and Dandan. Oh, we have a Dandan to replace. One sec. Almost through. Yes, there we are. Okay. I think for me, I'd say Desert Nomads. Just because it's protected from deserts. I think this is a solid card actually to pick. Like, it's so weird, but also it's unblockable. I totally forgot. I thought it only has the ability to be immune to deserts, but it's also unblockable. I forgot about that. It's so much better. Yeah, I'll pick that. This one doesn't have any use. This one I didn't like. It's cute. Is that an eyeball? I don't know. It's so cute. And the sandals, if we have an opponent that plays islands, it's good, but I wouldn't pick it like on purpose, because if they have deserts, I'm unblockable anyways. That is interesting that it's unblockable. So you have desert control decks, and then you have desert nomads that kind of counter the desert control decks. We gotta shuffle these ones as well to put some stuff into the void. And then we have this one. So, let's void 2 cards and rotate. What do we have here? Ooh, more witches! But also Sorceress Queen. Thing is, I would pick witches over Sorceress Queens. We already have one but, and it's a rare, but hear me out. Oh, one rare was picked out, by the way. But hear me out. The thing is, if we have Sorceress Queen but no witches, well, then the creatures are just small. Well, they don't deal any damage, but we have Oubliette for that. But the witches actually deal with the creatures, and Sorceress Queen just makes them small for a turn. Yeah. Then again, witches deals 1 damage to any of us also, of any of our targets. Queen of Witches, help me decide. Probably the witches, right? Let me know what you think. I will take a sip in the meanwhile. Queen easy, interesting. Why the queen over the witches? Just to be able to always keep a creature in check, and the witches just deal a damage. If you just have one witch, it doesn't help, right? That's probably the reasoning, right? Yeah, that is true. That is true. Hellscribe, I started the video out with you came later, which is great, but like it's great to see you. I explained all of that in the video beforehand. The thing is, I started collecting a year ago, actually. And it's crazy to see how far you can get in a year of just collecting stuff, collecting Arabian Nights cards from time to time, just buying wherever you find some. Was that the pack out that I had? Yeah. Okay. And I'm also already able to play with 3 players, 3 1/4 of players, and there are more cards in the mail coming so that I could play with 4 players even. So yeah, that's really amazing. And my focus for this year will probably be more Arabian Nights, to be able to play with 6 players, maybe even getting a bigger card for Arabian Nights. I'll see what I can do, what I can manage with my budget. But yeah, that would be my plan, to reduce some of the commander staples, because I only need 1 of each, and get more into the vintage. But yeah, you can enjoy all my table and details in the beginning of the video. Let me know what your thoughts are if you watched all that. So what else did you write? Yeah, we have the bottle. I'm not the biggest fan of the bottle because it could kill you. Like, well, you will not activate it if it can kill you, but it will bring you down quite a bit. If you win, though, it is beautiful. Like 50% of the time you get 5 damage, or 50% of the time you get your 5/5. Oh man. Let's pick the bottle, right? Like, it is such a fun card and such a janky card, and no risk, no fun, right? Like, there will be some memorable games if you get the 5/5 instead of another 3/3 that just attacks. And it has flying. Yeah, come on. Let's get the bottle, just because it's so weird. It's so unique. Yeah. It either let's correct that or build up on that. It either kills you, or it either kills you or it kills your opponent, right? Like, your opponent doesn't have a 5/5 flyer normally. Like, it kind of ends at like 3/3, kind of. That's the big stuff already. So I'd say Sandals or Desert. Thing is, Sandals is a sideboard card, and then we would have to draw it if we put it in. So I would go Desert in this case. Because this one we can use in either way, and don't have to pick out from the sideboard and hope to draw, because we don't have any tutors anyway. And well, if we needed a tutor, we have the ring also. So yeah, I agree. And Hellscribe, I also agree that Rebecca Gay's artwork are amazing and beautiful. I always adored her art. I always hope to meet her one day to get some cards signed. I don't think she drew any of the vintage cards sets that I collect, but I would just have her sign one of my favorite art cards or something. Like, I'm always amazed by her art. My wife as well, she's a big fan of her art as well. And Therese Nielsen also is one of our favorite arts, though she kind of fell off the... how do you put that delicately? well, she said some not so nice things, and that's why she isn't around anymore in the magic community. But still, I think she did some very beautiful, stunning artworks. So, what do we pick? I think the witches, right? Witches is just solid 1/3, and can deal some damage. You would cut red. Interesting. You're right. We only have 5 red cards, 6 red cards. But thing is, if we cut red, what about the desert nomads? These are so cool. We'll have to see, but you're right. I mean, like the curd apes we don't need. The rock egg is good. Bird maiden is good. Desert nomads are good. Curd apes we don't really need. And the 1-drops, as we already discussed and realized, they die quickly to the deserts. Yeah, probably maybe. But then we have a white-black control kind of deck. That's interesting. So let's get the witches and see what else we can draft. These we have to shred though. Let's see. Okay, so now I think we have to decide. There's also only 1 booster left, right? So 8 more cards, kind of, or like 11 more cards. Do we cut red or not? Like, the thing is, we have like 6 red cards. We could have a 7th, which is the egg, which is solid. We could also pick a Moorish cavalry. The desert nomads I really like to be protected from our opponent's deserts. The rest we don't really need, though rock egg is very useful. Cavalry again. Interesting argument, yeah. Yeah, and maybe, you know what? Maybe if our opponents cast too many, or use too many deserts, we can cast piety. So, if we find another piety, we should probably pick it, just to be safe, to be a little more defensive as well, right? I think that could be our goal. Question, how do we deal with a rug egg on our opponent's side? We just oubliette them, right? Yeah. Okay, so cavalry, and we probably cut red. Let's put those to the side and see how we feel about this. Let's shred 2 more cards and rotate 2 more cards. Let's see. Well, now we have the sandals or the jackal. I would go with the sandals if we're playing against a strong blue deck, or if we want to get unblockable again, which we aren't with the desert nomads, without the desert nomads. So maybe, yeah, inside board, and if we play against blue, we can put it in. We can put it in then. Okay. Last card, let's see what we get. A desert. Okay. Solid. Does your uncle still have his cards? Or what did he do with his cards? Because my uncle got us into Magic the Gathering, my dad and me, and he played with my cousins, with his kids, his two sons, and he told my dad that he should teach me Magic the Gathering, and that it's just such a great game. And yeah, I started when I was 7, and till today I had like a break of like 3 years or so in between. After Kamigawa I had a break, and played again. I came back from Scars of Mirrodin 2 today. Yeah, it looks nice. It looks nice. Starts out to look up nice. That's one out too much. Starts out to look nice like that. So yeah, it's also my uncle who got me into the game, and interestingly enough, I was able to take over his collection, so that was also nice. There weren't any really old cards though. We started in like around Invasion-ish, Mercadian Masks, so kind of the boring sets. So we didn't really have any vintage cards. Oh no, that is so sad. That's like a story that we hear so often, right? Like people throwing out their cards. Yeah, kind of sad. Kind of sad. I luckily never did that, but I did trade away quite a bunch of cards in between, but never the really... Like, I never traded away really old cards or like cards that I had memories with. Oh, that's interesting. My wife has a aunt that is just 8 years older than her, and they are also kind of like, when they're together, they kind of seem like sisters. Yeah, and my dad doesn't play anymore. Like I showed him Dandan and he liked it and he played it. I also showed him the pirate pauper deck that I have on my channel, which I really enjoy, and he also enjoyed, which is pauper combo pirate deck. But he doesn't really have his own cards anymore. He gave them all to me. All my cousins also gave me their cards, and now my older cousin, who's only just like 2 months older, he has kids that are now 5th grade, like 3rd and 1st grade or so, and they all start now to play Magic the Gathering, and now he wants some cards back, so that's nice. And we also play set cube together. I also have a P3K set cube on my channel. I am able to play with 6 players currently, and I started to play with that since it's such a nice and starter-y set. Like the Portal set was kind of to be the starter set for China. I did that. Like I played Yu-Gi-Oh for a month or two, and I traded those away. A couple of my Magic the Gathering cards for Yu-Gi-Oh cards, like a Blightsteel, a Darksteel Colossus or so, which was like 10 euros or so back then. But nothing too exciting, and I stopped playing like after 2 months or so because it didn't really resonate with me. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that statement. Because my uncle doesn't have his own cards really. Like he has a deck now or two, but he doesn't really have a collection anymore. My cousin also only has like 3-4 commander decks for his sons and himself. And my other cousin also has 1 commander deck, that's it. And when I come with a set cube, we're able to play, you know, like draft again, and we don't need to buy more cards and draft a set that is worth nothing, kind of. And now it's just like enjoying vintage, some piece of history, and a set cube that, or a set that no one ever was able to enjoy in such a way. A set cube, or a cube in general, is just a collection of cards that you're able to enjoy with probably multiple people. So in this case, these set cubes are collections of a set, in this case Arabian Nights, where you're able to shuffle them up in a way that you can build boosters with. So I have all the commons that I shuffle up, and I have all the rares or uncommons in this case that I shuffle up, and then I build booster packs like they were back in the day. And then you can experience a set like Arabian Nights where you were only able to buy like a single booster pack back in the day because they were so limited, which is such a nice way, in my opinion, to enjoy a collection. because I was never a collector and I would never just buy Arabian Nights just to put them into a binder. But the playability of a cube, of like this 500 card cube in the end, is such a nice way to experience the history of Magic the Gathering. And you can also Chaos Draft. Then I also built an unlimited set cube. I'm not done with it, but at some point you will be able to like pair unlimited with Arabian Nights, for example. So yeah, maybe you feel inspired to either build your favorite deck or start going into Vintage. I think you said you got some earlier. Maybe. It is a journey. It is a journey also. And also quite some money goes in there. But I think it's worth it. Like, I really enjoy. If you enjoy old cardboard and also playing, I think this is a nice way to do it. This is our last pack, by the way, before we finish out the deck. Let's just pick one, right? Like, let's see what we get in here. We have a double Dandan. And we replaced one Dandan with an Urk Raider. So this is our third Flying Carpet. I don't think we need another one. The choice, I think, is between the War Elephant, which I'm tending towards, or the Ogress. We have one Ogress. Where is it? There. And one Elephant. So Trample and Bands. I think I will pick the Ogress, actually. Like, they're similarly big, but the Ogress comes in earlier. You would pick the War Elephant. Because of the banding ability, probably. Why not the Ogress? Thing is, about banding, correct me if I'm wrong, but let's say those two band and they attack and your opponent has two deserts. Can't he just kill the War Elephant after it dealt damage? You know? Like, they're not a 5/5 creature, but you can just tap two deserts, kill the War Elephant, and then... Oh, I get what you're saying. The War Elephant will deal damage to the blocking creature. How does Trample work with banding? Let's say they band like this, which doesn't have Trample. Does this one trample over to the opponent if we have one blocker, like let's say whatever, like a Desert Nomad blocks? How does that work? Like, if those two are banded, if I deal all the damage with the War Elephant onto the Desert Nomad, this one doesn't get Trample, right? Like, banding is sometimes so confusing because you think it's a merged creature, but no, right? Like, this one also just deals damage here onto the Desert Nomad, and it's blocked because it's blocked as a band, and I can just deal 2 damage, like 1 and 1 here, and it survives. And the Desert can't kill it because it doesn't deal damage through. Only if I want to, then I would deal 3 damage here and 2 damage to the face of my opponent, and then they can tap the deserts, right? I'm not sure if that works. Because I think banding doesn't make one big creature out of it. They all are single creatures, and if you have a flying creature that is banded, not both of them are flying because one of them is still on the ground, right? Banding is sometimes really confusing. By the way, in regards to the question, 1k for a set cube, it depends on the set, obviously. And I think the cheapest vintage set for the dark set cube, I don't know if Energetic wants to share how much he paid for it, but the dark set cube cost me around 1.4k, I think. Yeah. And but today you can get it for under 1k, I think, like maybe 800, 700. Trample would work if a 1/1 would block, obviously. Like if a normal Curd Ape without Forest would block, I could trample 1 over, but this one wouldn't get trample. Yes, and the Dark is also such a fun and janky set. So, and you can even skip the more expensive cards that are like 50 or above, and focus on the commons and uncommons first, like the cheaper ones, and are already able to play it and have some fun, and then step by step get the more expensive ones. That is nice. So it's half the price that I paid for, but like I'm still having fun. I don't mind that I paid 700 too much. Wow, that is nice. That is nice. So yeah, as you can see, for 700 you can get a vintage set cube, which is janky but also such a ton of fun to play. The Dark as a set cube. The strongest creature in the Dark, by the way, I think is Ghost Ship. Like, it can regenerate and has flying. It's so brutal. Right. So that is how I see it, how this work, how this interaction would work, which is why I would pick the Ogress, actually, over the War Elephant. I would pick it second, but not first. Ogress costs 2 less, though 2 black pips, and has the downside of having to pay for it. But it deals 3 damage instead of 1, and it can be banded with, if I wanted to protect it a little more. Do you have Discord on your phone? Discord is also on the phone. Otherwise, I also have the entire cube list. Oh, I don't actually. I don't have it online. I could make it available online. Could upload it. But also maybe Energetic is able to share it in any way. I will shred 2 cards and rotate the table. Let's see what we get here. So we have both rares, and Ebony Horse I didn't like. Cyclone I can't play. I would go with the Cavalry probably, actually. Let's go with that. We didn't get any second Piety, did we? It's kind of sad. Shred 2 cards, and then we have 6 more to go before our deck is finished. Ooh, an Army of Allah is here. That's a common though. The rest is not that interesting, so let's get the army for a surprise attack. Very nice. The Discord link should be available in the community tab. You wouldn't draft a second one. Ooh, the War Elephant is still there. So let's get the War Elephant. My idea was if we are matched up with a opponent that has all the deserts, the desert control deck that we're able to actually surprise, defend ourselves or our important creatures with a 0/0/3. But yeah, not more than 2 is what I would play. But yeah, we didn't get a second one, so that's that. I would say, what do you think? We have either a second Ogress or a fourth desert, and I'm actually tending towards the desert. What are you thinking? Because the Ogress also dies to 2 deserts, but another desert could be defending or defensive against, let's say, aggro decks in this harsh environment of a desert. Desert! Yes! It's also a Mirage Desert. It has a little white pip right there. And the far, let's delete one more card and rotate. Ugh. That's a bad pack for the rest. Just pick our beautiful Dandan here because it's pretty. None of these cards are really scary in my opinion. I mean, to be honest, I am not playing blue, and I don't need to hate pick the Dandan. Let's remove the Ogre. Sorry, I forgot to delete a card before we look. Okay. So, I think since we are still having the Jeweled Bird in this draft, we are playing with Ante. And I like the Jeweled Bird. To be able to save our oubliettes and replace it and to draw a card. It just replaces itself. It's just solid. So the Raiders go away. And we remove one more card for our last card of this draft. It is another Ogress. Very nice. Okay. These go away. And then we are in our last phase. These cards we have in our sideboard. If we wanted, we could even splash some red in or have a third color or go red if like our white and black tactic doesn't work. Where do I put that? Let's make some more space. I will put this to the side here so you can still look at it if we still needed something. And then I can help with that. Let's see, Chrome. It should be on the in the community tab, but I think I'm able to get this in a sec. Posts, and then was here, right? Nope. Then here it is. Discord invite link. I will post it, and everyone who's online can also join who wants to. I cannot. Why can I not post it? Wow, I'm not able to post the link in here. That is weird. Why? Ah, no. No. Got it. There it is. Okay, and then you can join the server. Very nice. Okay, so this is our deck. We have 4 deserts. Oh, right. I wanted to get the land box in, which is this one. a long box with like, I think 300 lands or so. And we need some plains here and some swamps. There we are. We'll see how many in a sec, but these are waiting here for us. Like this probably. Okay. You are welcome. So we have 4 deserts, so these are lands. And then we have, let's see, maybe we can just have this deck finished like this, but probably we'll have to remove some cards. So that's 10. That's another 10, and that is... Okay, so that's exactly 30 cards. That's too many. That is a little too many. So I would say we play all the oubliettes. I heard Energetics say only 1 camel is allowed. We only take 1 camel. We have 3 ogres. I would remove the Graders if you don't disagree. How far do we want to go down? Like 16 lands? Plan is to build a 40 card deck in a draft usually. And then, yeah, the question is how many cards do we want to put in here with the lands? I'm sorting currently as well, so the witches and the queens are really nice. These will probably all go in here. We have 4 Moorish cavalry. Question is, should we remove 1? Then we have 2 elephants. Flying carpets we have 2 of. We have 1 more Urgi. So now... You like it as a turn 2 play? Thing is, all the witches are turn 2 plays, and all the ogresses are turn 2 plays. And that's it. I think we need more turn 2 plays. We have already 6 turn 2 plays. The Sorcerer's Queen is a turn 3 play. Because I think that's enough, actually. The question is, do you find it more solid than another one? But in my opinion, I don't. Like, I don't like it that much. But maybe I'm missing something. I don't need to count again. We had exactly 30, so now we have 26. I think I would go down to 2 less, and I think we have a deck. So... what else do we cut? Do we cut Brassman? It's not the best, but it's also a 1-drop. Like, would you include that guy? Or remove anything else? I mean, we could just remove those 2, right? How about that? How are we feeling? I mean, then we could play 43 cards, maybe? Or how many lands do you usually put into a deck? I think I do like 16, 24. But I wouldn't do 26, 14. That would be a little too low in my opinion. We have 0 ramp cards, but that's also normal in a vintage set cube. Unlimited has some ramp. That is not true. Legends also has 1 ramp card in it. Untamed Wilds it is. I think if we would go down to 40, I would cut those 2 because we have enough 2-drops, and I'm not convinced about the Brassman too much. So this would be my deck. Let me know if you want to do some last minute changes, but I would now count how many I have. That is 8, that is 10 black cards. Then we have 4 here. Then we have another 3 and 2. Okay, so it's pretty balanced. Nice. First place in your first draft, one and only draft. That is good. Amazing. Very nice. I don't think I was ever first in a draft. Like privately, maybe, yeah, but like officially in an LGS, like I don't think so. And for the first draft, that's pretty solid. So we already have 4, so we only need 6 of each, I'd say. I only want the unlimited ones. These are pretty. They say tap to add. Don't have the tap symbol on them. This, and then this, and then one last one. There. That's 12, 16, yeah. This would be our deck. And then we would play. Can do some play testing if you want, but this is where I'd say that the stream slowly comes to an end. You cheated in the way of like watching some guides to the set that you drafted. I mean, that's what good players also do. Like they inform themselves about the sets, and then they play. You know, like obviously you get all the information that you can get. What is playable? What are some combos? Some synergies in a set. Yeah, obviously. Like everyone has their time and their time limit to build a deck. But if you're not stopping to read, you can just build faster and make better decisions or take more time to think about synergies. So yeah, I think that's not cheating. I think that's just informing yourself. And also for a set cube, a vintage set cube, I'd tell you to look at the cards in the set beforehand, because we don't want to read through all the cards the whole time, you know, like just if everyone as a MTG player just read through the set for a moment, and then we can just play more and read less, you know. Okay, so let's put those cards to the side as well. These we don't need. And then we have some test hands. Also, I would love to hear some feedback about today's video, how you enjoyed it, what you liked, what you would want to see changed, what would you see next time. All info that I can work with for the next video. This hand is not really playable. The colorless land actually doesn't help at all. And we only have 2 lands, so we would have to get a mulligan. Yeah, and I mean, this is also a part of the video earlier that we had, is that we looked at all the cards in the set beforehand so that we know what we are going into, so that we don't have to read later on again. Yeah, very useful. And also a thing that you could just do, you know, like you could just also come together with your friends and just look through the cards at first, just like look, You know, just no pressure in building or anything. Just look through the cards. We're taking a mulligan. Also, another thing that you can see or think about if you have a set cube and think about the mulligan rules is which mulligan rules do you want to have? Because the older mulligan rule would be that I only draw 6 cards now. I'm playing with the usual mulligan rule, so we put 1 card down. So I would actually put down 1 white mana. Probably. Or a PET, but then PET will not arrive at all ever again. So I would go like this probably. Let's get some more light in here. Glare. Like this. Okay. I think the very first mulligan rule was if you have 0 or only lands, you have a mulligan. Otherwise, you just keep your hand. So also an option. But I like this one. I like this mulligan rule, and everyone is used to that. So turn 1 would be to play a Swampy, probably. Turn 2, second Swamp. And a Ogress for turn 2. And then when it attacks, I have to pay 2. Okay, Oubliette, that is useful. And we don't have a 3 drop currently that is useful. So we attack for 3. And we pay 2, so it doesn't deal damage to us, since we don't have anything else to do. We hope that the opponent doesn't have 2 deserts and kills our creature. So now we have the option to either attack or play the witches. So depending on what our opponent has, we would play the witches, which is also more defensive and could protect us from strong creatures. Yeah, thanks for the feedback. I always love to hear some if you have some. Also later on, if you watch this video later, let me know what you thought of it. I really enjoyed this. Like I had fun. There were a little less than last time, but I think it's also because it's vintage and the vintage market is a little weak these days and not much interest is in there and a lot of interest in the modern cards. But yeah, I also enjoyed that. Just sharing my passion for the vintage cards, and maybe I can inspire someone later down the line, or maybe even inspired someone today to build a set cube and try out playing one of their favorite sets or even a vintage set cube to try it out with their friends as well. So, question is War Elephant, which I think I'm playing, or attacking, and I think I would play a War Elephant to band later on. And I could even band like this currently. So, oh no, I can't attack. I just played it. So what else? We're drawing another land. Now we can play Oubliette on the strongest creature of our opponents. So that's nice. And we can also make a creature fly. But my idea would be to probably band attack, probably trample over and pay another 2. If deserts happen, we can protect our creatures, and if they have a strong creature, we can oubliette it. That seems useful. So that's already 5 damage here. Thank you, Energetic, for the feedback. Let me also know if there was anything that you would like to see. If there is anything that you maybe missed that I could have also done. Maybe do next time. You know, the Ogress here. I like that the Ogress says colorless mana and not colored mana, which would be so much harder to pay. So I can play another Ogress and attack again and pay for her with the colorless mana. That is very useful. Really nice. Yeah, it will be really interesting to see the Arabian Nights set cube with even stronger cards in the set cube as well. With the Djinn, when I have the funds to get a Djinn, or like the Bazaar or the Library of Alexandria. This will get the set cube to a whole different level, you know. But like it's also still a big chunk of money, so always keep that in mind. Never go overboard and get the cards you can actually can actually currently buy. Gameplay for set cubes or gameplay in general with Commander? Because there are 2 or 3 videos on the channel already of me actually playing Commander with over spell table, and I'm showing some of the decks that I also showed on the channel. There is one with Eudora, which is one of my favorite decks, which is the forest deck that flips the lands into forests, the creatures into forests, where the deck is also built around the sleeves. And there is a video about one of the strongest pauper decks that I ever built, the mono white one, and one where I play my land trebuchet deck, my 4-colored, which sadly didn't win but did some stuff. But it was a fun game, and it's also one of my favorite decks. I have many favorite decks. I just realized. It's interesting to see how slowly my cards are going down, and I'm playing more stuff. I can play it all, but yeah, I mean, there's also not like a board wipe in the set. I can always deal 1 damage or up to 2 damage directly if I want to, and I can remove some stuff. So I think this deck has some control-y aspect, but also some aggro aspect with the banding creatures and the bigger guys here. So I like that. I like that. One would have to try it against actual opponents. Maybe let's get a second hand here to try it out again. But it's really interesting what you can build and how the set was designed, of like the desert being like a harsh environment where your creatures die slowly. That's really, really interesting, and you have to take care of them. Really interesting. Yeah, and if I think one thing that we can also do is like do a live stream of a spell table game. I could imagine that could also work. Probably only 1 game, because often there's like some downtime of like people thinking what they should do next. Oh, drew exactly 7 cards. But yeah, I think that we could also do. Then we could maybe arrange a game of Commander, maybe over on Discord, that we find a date and a time, and not that late for Energetic, for example, who totally has to go to sleep. 0 lands, we get a new hand. Yeah, so maybe a little earlier than today. Yeah, I could imagine that it could be fun. So then we would just play with our favorite decks, maybe not the highest of power, but like nice decks. Yeah, I could imagine that happening in the next couple of weeks, maybe even. Yeah, sounds like a fun thing to do next. There are still some decks that I wanted to try out. For example, the Arami deck, which I still haven't tried out in multiplayer. Yeah, this card is too used to be played in a vintage set cube. Like I see it as marked, and this one as well. I would say these are both 2 deserts. No, they're not. Okay, so it's one is an actual basic land that is very used. Like, it's also quite dirty. Okay, let's see. We have some lands. Okay, that is all playable. So again, same turn 1, turn 2 play, I suppose. So Swampy and Ogress. And then turn 3, a desert probably, to be able to defend ourselves from 1/1s. And then we can attack also and pay for the Ogress, the tithe, Ogress tithe. We have a cavalry next, trample, and then... Oh, I cheated. I just cheated. Couldn't have played that. Can play it now. And then I can attack, though. So, ooh, this combo I really like. The Witches and the Sorceress Queen. We do need 2 Witches or a desert to be able to actually kill creatures. But as long as the queen is there, they will not attack while I have those two on the battlefield. But I really like this, like being able to disable creatures or, well, disembowel them. So let's get the queen out for more defensiveness. And now they also don't dare to actually block. Like, the queen is really strong. It's 3 times in the set cube. Really nice. And I can still pay for the ogress and can attack with that one, right? Really nice. Like this, and then we can still play another cavalry. It's good to know there is not a direct board wipe in the set cube, but there's still the cyclone in here, which slowly kills all the creatures on the board. And Sorcerer's Queen, I just realized it's just a 1/1. This one will die really fast. So it has a strong effect, but it just flops after just like looking at something weirdly. Yeah, okay. Because Drop of Honey also kills creatures from time to time. So yeah, maybe I shouldn't just play all the creatures at if I can, but like maybe wait a little also. Yes, thank you. Thank you for attending the stream. It was really nice to see you here, and I hope to see you in the next one. I think if you don't have anything else that you want to add, or questions that you have to ask, or feedback that you have to give, I think I would also call it quits here for today. It's also quite late. We also had 1 hour longer than I actually planned earlier at the beginning. But yeah, I had fun. I had a great time. Thank you for being so communicative here. And yeah, if you're not subscribed, maybe you should subscribe. If you watch that far into the video, I think you should totally subscribe. Yeah, whenever you're watching this video, have a beautiful weekend, rest of the weekend, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day, guys. Take care. Bye bye.